Good morning, Goa. Welcome to Good Morning Goa show on HCN News and Entertainment channel. Today, I have with me our guest, a special guest, Mauvin Godinho, the Panchayat Minister. Welcome, sir, to the Good Morning Goa show.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers also.
Before moving on to the Panchayat itself, your former colleague and the former Chief Minister of Goa, Digambar Kamath, is being quizzed by the crime branch on illegal mining. He says the government is trying to silence the Congress, silence him. What is your take? You have been his colleague even during the last 5 years.
It is me who has raised the mining story, and I wanted the strictest of action to be taken against the culprit responsible for such a huge loss to the state exchequer, encouraging the fly-by-night operators whose addresses even the government or the police or the agencies failed to trace, unless they were facilitated by people in the higher echelons of power, it was just impossible to have illegal mining on that scale. State lost revenue, only some individuals made money, environment was destroyed, and it resulted in the legal people who were doing mining in a legal manner, they also had to stop shop. So it became a very big scandal. So Goa can never spare those people who took Goa's soil and allowed it to be abused and sold in the international market for gaining some little few pieces of silver, and that is what happened. And today I am the judicial system in Goa or elsewhere in the country, it's very slow. It does not get quick results. So the process goes on and on, merely because he has got bail and he is being quizzed, and he should not make allegations saying that they are trying to silence him. If there was no material, I think by now he had enough time to go to higher courts and get the entire process quashed, which cannot happen and will not happen, because there is prima facie material available to show that there was illegal mining done by the powers to be, and action is being taken. In fact, I want to tell you, if at all the BJP suffered to a large extent in public support, was because the strictest of action was not taken on certain people, and one of them certainly is the one who was involved in illegal mining in a big way. Had action been taken in the real sense, had he been inside, I think public sympathy would have been there, more public sympathy would have been there with the BJP, and people would have been sort of veering more around that party. Somehow people felt that enough was not done, and that's why perhaps now law has to take its course.
There are 13 cases that are being investigated, but all are based on the Justice Shah's report, and beyond that, evidences are not there prima facie with regard to the charge sheets that have been.
The highest court in the land, that is the Supreme Court, came down heavily on illegal mining, not only in Goa, in the entire country. Is it the case that it is just a Shah Commission report which is indicting our former Chief Minister? The answer is no. There is much more than what meets the eye, and there was certainly illegal mining. I am on record in the August House. Shah Commission report, perhaps it is too far-fetched in terms of figures. They said there is a loss of 35,000 crores. I said even if it is 10 or 15%, it comes to almost 3,500 crores, and you add another 5,500 crores. So that also is a huge loss to a small state like Goa, whose budget is only 16,000 crores. So who made the loss? Who made development suffer? People have to pay for their sins. When you are chosen to be at the helm of affairs, and when you are out there to sell the interests of Goa, and particularly anyone doing an offence as far as the soil of Goa is concerned, deserves much more punishment than perhaps the courts are looking at in the manner they are looking at.
Since we are talking about cases, and the BJP even was in power last time, one of the allegations at personal level was on you with regard to the power department scam.
What was the offence against me? Only that I did not follow business rules. A matter which had to go to the cabinet did not go to the cabinet. And that was the big crime that I committed. I can show you 100 such decisions where due to oversight it has gone through the process and decisions have been taken. Okay, this particular thing was raised against me as if I have committed a big crime. But when is the minister supposed to be blamed? There are certain business rules that are there. Rule 46 of the business rules of the government of Goa says very clearly, however, if any of the above mentioned rules have not been followed, it is the duty of the secretary bar officials to bring it to the notice of the Honorable Chief Minister. And this is all in writing. No such thing happened that I did not go to the cabinet. No secretary power put it on the file that since this matter was discussed in the cabinet, it has to be put up in the cabinet. No joint secretary made such a noting. No under secretary made such a noting. So it simply meant it escapes there. It simply meant that it escaped the attention of the bureaucracy as well. So the minister is to be blamed if the business rule was not followed. At least I follow the rules, therefore I am quoting the rules. What about a person who is less educated? In democracy, throws anybody in power. And if there was an Anguta chap, that means rest of his life he would have been in jail for taking decisions. So the most important thing for the offence was that 13 crore subsidy was dispersed to industry, only 13 crores. Today the whole subsidy is recovered, so there is not a single rupee lost to the state exchequer. All has been recovered because there was a decision of the Supreme Court to recover that money because business rules were not followed. In fact, there were two decisions of the Supreme Court. One which said, what was the charge against me again? That applied for availing or applied or avail mean one and the same thing. There was a decision of the High Court. And it said what was implicit in the earlier notification has been made explicit in the August notification which I had issued. So I was absolved. Surprisingly, there was another decision of the High Court. So you can understand what was the decision of the judiciary also. On the same matter, it was there that business rules were not followed. Yes, fine, I accept. But there are umpteen such decisions. It does not invite criminality. But in my case, I had to face it. And most important thing, argument before charge. In legal process, it simply means there was no charge against you. It's the police who framed the charges. Therefore, the court has cleared you. Now, out of the 5 cases, all the major things where I took the decision, I have been cleared. I got a clean sheet from all. I got from the lower court, I got from the high court, because there are 5 cases. No? I even got a clean sheet in the latest thing from the Supreme Court, where it said very clearly the above mentioned judgment shall not cast any aspersion on the then minister and on his conduct as a minister. This special paragraph is there. That means even they felt following business rule is not the responsibility of the minister alone. And surprisingly, when that case was sort of made up, it was only against the minister. There was no case against under secretary. There was no case against joint secretary. There was no case against secretary power.
One of the questions raised by the opposition and people again who have been opposing you is that you have hugged the BJP now and become a part of BJP, while it was BJP who filed these cases against you.
It is a fact that who filed these cases are the Congress people. Who was in government that time? Who in government was the Congress? Who was my chief minister? Mr. Pratap Singh Rane. I was his power minister. He told us the previous night, I will go as per law. I told him, I don't want any favor, please go as per law. I will go as per the decision of the Advocate General. Advocate General was Mr. Vijay Natkanni, our late Mr. Vijay Natkanni, whom I have great respect. He said, I will go as per his opinion. Opinion came in a sealed envelope, and we all cabinet colleagues are sitting in the Altino house. He opened the sealed envelope and he went to read it. When he read it, I saw him turning white. So I knew he was unhappy, and the decision perhaps came in my favor, I thought at time, which afterwards I realized. Wherein he clearly opined that the decision of not going to the cabinet where I went, where criminality was sought to be imposed on me, that it could be ratified. He said, however, the above decision can be ratified by the cabinet. And there was a cabinet meeting in the late afternoon. So he could have easily ratified it. He saw to it that this decision was not ratified of mine, even though there was a cabinet note. And he instructed the bureaucrats that you will see that you put negative remarks from the finance department, everything. And I produced record where my file went to finance department. The register only went missing. The whole register went missing, but I still have that copy where the movement of the file was shown. So it was all a manipulation done by my own Congress people. So I don't blame the BJP people, neither I blame anybody else, whoever it is who filed the case, simply because if I was in their shoes at that point of time, and if the opponent comes and gives you a ready-made material, come on, it will enhance the image of your party, it will enhance your image, this person is doing too much, means it was my own chief minister going against me, which has never happened in the history of Goa. Show me one instance where one chief minister has put his colleague down. In a similar way, I would like to say, I want this government, our government also, which I will be speaking to chief minister, to take action against SEZ scandal. Why no action is taken? In my presence, I know when action was sought to be taken, how the then chief minister also told somebody that go slow on this, or similar things happened. So all these type of things have happened, and where there is a real scandal, nothing is being done, so and where not following business rules, it becomes a very big scandal. I don't know why people somehow, some of them perhaps don't like to see my face, and they are very much disturbed now. The BJP has also embraced me, I have embraced the BJP. I am in the BJP because I believe that under Mr. Manohar Parrikar's leadership, who I call the tallest leader of Goa, something really good and will happen for Goa. Under Modi, Shri Narendra Modi's leadership as the Prime Minister, it is the biggest game changer since independence of this country for India. And that cascading effect is going to be felt and is already being felt all over India. I wanted to be part and parcel of the whole process called real inclusive development. I wanted to be part and parcel of out of box thinking, that we go far beyond established norms of governance, get good outside inputs, improve the level of governance in a manner that you deliver. Today what do people want? They want you to deliver, they want you to perform, they want you to do new projects, they want you to have good social security schemes. In Goa, people sometimes are a little confused between development and protecting the environment. Yes, environment has to be protected. We have to protect Goa and the Goanness, as we say. गोंयकारपण आमी राखपा जाय, गोंय राखपा जाय, खरें राखपा जाय, पूण तेच बरोबर आमकां विकासूय जाल्लो जाय, आमकां गोंय फुडेंय गेल्लें जाय. आज पोल्युशन आहा म्हूण आमी गाडयांनी भोंवता ते बंद केलें जाता, बुलोकाटान वचपा जाता, घरां बांदपाक सिमेंट जाय, कॉन्क्रीट जाय, तेजे फ्यूम्स येता, तेजे bad things emanate from concrete and all. Will you not stay in a concrete house? Will you go back because it is healthy in the cave, go back to the stone age? It is not possible. हे आमी खूब समजपाची खूब गरज आसा, आनी तेन्नाच आमचे तरी चिंतप सारकें जालें. हिंगा कितें जाता, ओल्याचेर सुकें जोडटा, सुक्याचेर ओलें जोडटा, आनी मागीर लास्टा only have the mind agitated, don't allow progress, and more than half your time goes assuaging the feelings of the people.
The Panchayat elections, as announced yesterday, are likely to be held on 17th, preponed by a week.
Yeah.
Was this due to any specific reason, or because Sanjam was supposed to be on 24th?
See,
and
when the honorable Chief Minister was the Panchayat Minister, he announced the date as 25th. Why did he announce the date as 25th? He is a very practical man. He knew technically the department is not ready. Delimitation process has to be done. Reservation of wards is to be done. Certain corrections are to be made in Panchayat areas. And the same bureaucracy was, the same officers were used in just concluded assembly elections. So that sort of fatigue was there. Then people went on leave. Things could not happen that fast. So that's how he chose 25th, and choosing 25th also was not a wrong thing. Means it was not postponing the election, it was a technical adjustment, and it was, I call it, a pure adjustment of dates, and he was very practical in that. But when I went back to the department, when I was handed over the charge, I asked my people, work a little faster, work a little harder, put in more efforts, we will try to do things little early. And when they said they would be ready even 1 week before the scheduled date of 25th, and then there was again a representation which came to me from various quarters. 24th is the feast of St. John the Baptist. Obviously, I have to consider, I have to give due weightage, and when my department is ready, immediately I send the secretary Panchayats and the director Panchayat to have discussions with the state election commissioner. He was kind enough to agree with us and come on board or be on the same page. So it was the smooth selection of 17th. We would have perhaps had it on Sunday, that is 18th, but 18th, you know, is a Goa Revolution Day. We could not have it on that day, so it moved to 17th, the next earliest date possible. So that's how we are having it on 17th. In Goa, what happens, we should realize, and rightly so, why not? I grant it to you, there are so many newspapers, so many channels, and for a small population in a small state of Goa, everything gets under the lens, under the microscope. And it is a good thing in one way, but of course there are also bad effects in the sense that you can't, you think 100 times instead of 10 times before taking a decision. But I hope ultimately it culminates in good decisions for everyone, and that's how one good decision to have it on 17. So we are not basically moving far away from the expiry of the term of the Panchayat. There are states in India, I know, where no Panchayat election only have been held. There are states in India where nothing is being followed. In Goa is one state, I want the Goans to know, where rules and regulations are adhered to, are followed, because there are innumerable number of NGOs, there are innumerable number of pressure groups, and you are always under the scanner. And it's good to be under the scanner because we are doing public duty, we are in the public domain, and it is something that is necessary in a democracy to keep you on your toes.
So one of the questions that was raised was, how far was the State Election Commission consulted on 25th June when the State Commission had proposed 21st May as the election date, and last week when the Chief Minister announced 25th June as the date. So how far is the State Election Commission in sync with the decisions of the government on the elections?
I think as far as the State Election Commission is concerned, it is an independent body. It is free to say what it has to say. But being Election Commission, it would have been always nice in a democratic process that even there are certain shortcomings, it's better not to go to the press or the public. It only brings down the high pedestal on which an institution stands. We all should refrain, in fact, from making unnecessary statements where you yourself go down in the esteem of the public in a democratic process. Now, having said that, as I told you earlier, as long as there is no malintention or bad intention in taking a decision, it augurs well for the state. And as you know, there is not a delay of even 1 month. That's why I call it adjustment of dates. So June 25th was not a bad date at all.
Petition filed in the High Court challenging the ward delimitation. How do you respond to this?
As I said, everything is up under the scanner. So that is one scanner, that is the judiciary. So now it has gone to on that scanner. So let the judiciary or the High Court take their decision. But as far as I am concerned, that particular point on which they have gone to the court is as regards delimitation and also as regards reservation of wards. I think if the argument is why should the state government do this, it is the State Election Commission which has to do. Now this is possible only once we bring an amendment to the Act. The Act says, and at present, under the present Act, powers are vested with the state government. They are not vested with the State Election Commission. tomorrow the High Court feels yes, these powers have to be vested with the State Election Commission, we will gladly do that. And there is no file on record even from the State Election Commission that this should have been our domain or this is the right process. There is no such thing. Now tomorrow if High Court says you have to do this particular thing, in come next election, next Panchayat election, we will see that we follow those rules in that manner.
Okay. Apart from all the governance and the election process, one very important thing is the local self-government itself, the Panchayat bodies and their functioning. You have come from the grassroots. You have been a part at the lowest levels. How important is the government's backing when it comes to funds, when it comes to development? I mean, time and again we see either the sarpanch changes, there are always teams, no confidence motion.
See, if we want healthy Goa, first of all, Goa should be healthy at the grassroots level. And if Goa is to remain healthy at the grassroots level, your panchayats have to be strengthened. In whatever manner possible, they have to be given powers as well. But along with power comes responsibility. As you yourself said now, many a times in some panchayats, they want to play musical chairs. The post of sarpanch is up for grabs. And it's not for nothing that people want this particular post. Because there is something there, some honey is there or some honeycomb is there, all the bees want to move in that particular direction. So, this particular thing also has to be curbed, the musical chairs. There has to be stability. There can be no development without stability. I will in fact review the entire act and whatever it takes to bring about stability, even bringing about an amendment to change of sarpanchis and all, I will do that, so that there is no dancing around, having a sarpanch, fixing a date. How much time is wasted? In my own panchayat, in one of the panchayats, I had people who wanted to be sarpanch for 6 months, and then another person wanted for 1 year. Means whole 5 years went dividing the thing. You resign first, you are given 15 days for cooling so that you don't change your mind. They again fix a date for election of sarpanch. How much of time and energy is wasted of the department as well as the panchayat? So what type of development you are going to do? So this particular thing needs a review, it needs a relook. I will be looking into entire aspect. If we have healthy panchayats in Goa, I think we will have a healthy Goa. And in terms of health, I don't mean, because I mean everything in order at the grassroots level. Whether it is your small roads, it is your small drains, it is handling your garbage, it is looking after the small culverts, it is looking at the cleanliness in the small village market. All these issues are to be readdressed by them. Instead, the emphasis is which project is coming up, which development is coming up, which will fetch us something. So that mentality has to change. And I propose to visit all the panchayats in Goa. I will be taking a tour, let elections be over. I want to visit each and every panchayat so that I am a hands-on person. So I have a true feeling of what is necessary where. And I think if we strengthen our Panchayati Raj system, which also includes the Zilla Panchayats, now that they are there I am talking, actually they were not necessary for Goa. It was our misfortune and we did not at that time represent, because for a small state of Goa, it becomes a 3-layered thing which was not necessary. Now that it is there, we also have to think that they also function in a healthy manner. But conflict of interest of areas where certain things overlap is always going to be there, because for half a size of a district of bigger states which Goa is, you have first the panchayats, then you have the Zilla Parishad, then you have the state government. So it becomes a bit too much. But looking at the situation that it's already a reality, we have to see how to attain the best results in the best possible manner.
And just as you said, Zilla Panchayats, I was going to ask you a question, because they have been time and again demanding more powers, more funds for development.
Again, that is what I basically answered now when I said if you remove some powers from the certain departments, obviously the MLAs will resist it, and rightly so. Ministers will resist that. If you remove some powers which are there with the panchayats, they will resist it. If you give them some powers, then the panchayats will also come shouting that no, this is our domain. So there has to be a healthy balance. We will see that how we are able to balance the entire thing. In fact, for the size that is Goa, I would say, though today it would look far-fetched, instead of having Zilla panchayats, we should, with the increase in population, delimitation now, so many wards have been carved out. Arunachal Pradesh has got 60 MLAs. Instead of having Zilla panchayats, we should in fact think of having an increase in the MLAs, which will also bring about more stability. And there is no three-layered thing. It's unnecessary waste of time. So give importance to the August House, because I remember when Honorable Prime Minister, the late Rajiv Gandhi was there, he had consulted me also, and he said choose between 40 and 60 or in between. And to a great extent, I was one of the strongest advocates of only having 40 MLAs, only because I said let us not make it a panchayat, because at that point of time our population was less. But having regard to the increase in the number of people living, instead of having Zilla panchayat, I think slowly we should graduate into having a slight increase in the number of MLAs and do away with the Zilla panchayats. That's my thinking, it's my personal thought. Tomorrow it should not become, Goa, anything becomes a controversy. It should not become a controversy, and that only makes the headlines, and then you are clobbered on that. But it is my very strong personal view which will help Goa.
And one last question on the panchayat itself, not the Zilla panchayat itself, as you were saying, that you look forward to over the overall act itself. Are you for a fixed term for the sarpanches at the local level?
I think I will have, as I said, a relook at the entire thing. But having one sarpanch only during the entire term, I think it calls for a lot of stability. It will bring about a lot of stability, and it will bring about good development without any interruptions. If you have the sarpanch changing every year in all the 5 years, how will it bring about stability? As I said, you lose so much of time. First you resign, then you have to give 15 days. Then again new date has to be fixed. Again for fixing that date also there is time of 1 month. Sometimes somebody will manipulate, he will go use influence, he will wait for the last date to be fixed so that the acting sarpanch gets the charge. So all these sort of manipulations should not actually be allowed in a democracy to that extent, and especially at the grassroots level. It disturbs the stability, because see, grassroots level means what? It is the bottom pit. And when your foundation itself becomes loose and everything becomes soft and means shaky, then it speaks for the edifice of called democracy on which we thrive. Democracy itself becomes weak. So we should not allow that to happen.
So on that note, where the Panchayat Minister himself says we need more stability in terms of the our grassroots level governance bodies, which are the foundations of our democracy. I thank you, sir, for joining us this morning on the Good Morning Goa show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure talking to you. And thank the viewers as well.
And I thank all you viewers for tuning into Good Morning Goa show. I will be back with yet another guest tomorrow. Until then, keep watching HCN.